truth coming out. They admit that they've been telling porkies, and now they propose to increase their power. So central bankers belatedly admit, now that you've mentioned it, yes, banks create the money supply. So let's abolish that now. And also, by the way, let's abolish cash. So what should we do? Well, introduce digital cyber currency that central banks issue and control, and thereby gain total control over all economic transactions, decisions, and the whole lot you've just heard from the CEO of the GDI. So the greatest concentration of central banking power in history is really the bid they're aiming at. That's the central bank's goal. And of course, digital accounts of dissenters and regime critics could be switched off. It'd be very difficult to even purchase necessities. So this is an Orwellian dystopia of total control, the end of any freedoms. That's really what central banks are aiming at. Several central banks have, like the Bank of England, already prepared their microchip implant, Rfid chip, to be implanted under your skin. And why is there sudden discussion about universal basic income from all the grassroots and inverted commas movements and billionaires? Universal basic income is the bribe for you to accept the microchip. The overarching trend of the 20th century is concentrating of power in the hands of the few. That's what we have to keep in mind. We have to work against this. We don't want to have these unaccountable central planners making decisions. We need decentralization, and the solution therefore is to maintain public money in the hands of local community banks, decentralize decision making, give local people power. Local public banks and local not-for-profit community banks. As I walked in, I was delighted to see that the Gottlieb Duttweiler Institute is also about Genossenschaft cooperatives, and of course, the majority of banks in Germany are cooperative banks, and that's really what we need. So,
alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors being to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. Saki and Mahalaria, coming back with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord, it's really be edifying. If you heard it from the horse's mouth, you heard it now about the future of currency. It says if the globalists get their way, and this guy, and basically, if you couldn't hear it, I'll replay the video. He's basically speaking on how the Bank of England and how these different conglomerates are gearing up to institute this mark of the beast, this RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast that the Bible talks about. All right, like we've been specifying and speaking on for years to come, that this was going to be the thing of the future. And I said in my video last week that this is something we was going to cover pretty often because this is prophecy. Like the scriptures say in 2 Ezra, speak in the ears of my people prophecy and write it in a book, or cause it to be written in paper. And this is none other than what we're doing, because we have a declaration to go out here and declare this gospel, the good news about the coming kingdom of heaven. And that's what this is all about, telling our people that better is coming for them outside of the system. All right, but before then, we got to go through hell of this Jacob's trouble, this great tribulation period, as these Christians effectively or affectionately called it. All right, we're entering some times, man, that's going to be beyond human fathom or human reasoning, because majority of the people right now, they're still in a proud state of mind because they're still able to move around, though they're talking about restrictive and second lockdowns and vaccinations. They're talking about all these things now, and it's just a matter of time before they say, you know what, we need the RFID chip, everybody, because that's really the ultimate goal, to get rid of cash, to bring in a chip, and to get you people afraid under the COVID-19, which Apostle Ramlab went into some things yesterday, which I found pretty interesting, about how in Canada they're setting up provisions to lock down, and setting up certain particular goals and checkpoints that they want to force on their populace, which is going to spread to the four corners of the globe. But they're starting as early as November 2020, and it's going to take place over a course of time, because their whole thing is to get this thing up and running by the third quarter next year, which will be roughly summertime, because a quarter is count in 3 increments of 3 months. So you got January, February, March, that's 1 quarter. April, May, June, that's 2nd quarter. July, August, September, 3rd quarter. October, November, December, the 4th quarter. So they got this thing rolled out in stages, and don't think that for 1 second that America is not the capitalist that this is gonna reside in, all right? Because believe it or not, Babylon is really behind this whole ordeal, because this is the elite bankers. This is their, how can I say it? This is their force, their power behind their beast structure, America, where they enforce the police state. Because you got the trilateral cities, you know, you got the Vatican, or the papacy, which goes into the spiritual mark, or the spirituality of this beast system, the false prophet, which all these false religions sprang forth from, all right, like Roman Catholicism, Islam, Presbyterian, Seventh-day Adventists, your typical Baptist, Christian Church, Methodist, etc. Then you got the UK, or London, the financial capital behind the world banks, the IMF, the Federal Reserve, you know, these particular things. And then you got America, which is the military counterpart, which deals Washington D.C., the Pentagon, etc. This is where the firepower comes from. This is basically the beast that protects the financial. America is the military beast that protects the financial beast, if you understand what I'm saying. All right, because anything, and I've always used this analogy, if you have any type of wealth, you're gonna have some type of security force, whether it's weapons or guards or military, to protect your gold, to protect your substance. That just makes sense, you know. So anyway, they're getting ready to do away with this cash any day now, and this is one reason why COVID was a main culprit for the times we're living in. You know, this is why they're mandating the masks. This is why they're forcing the inoculations. This is why they're forcing the second lockdown. This is why they're forcing restrictions, because you're going to have a COVID pass in order to board a plane in the future, you know. And then next year sometime, which they're behind schedule, because October 1st of this year, they were supposed to have what you call the real ID in real time, which you needed to get on a plane or to travel abroad, domestically and internationally. But now they delayed that to 2021. So they're gearing to have this chip out by next year sometime. That's the goal, to have this particular microchip, the RFID chip, in place by 2021. So you brothers and sisters out there, you can expect a lot of activity from now on forth. Okay, like we deemed the year 2020 the year of prophecy. All right, year 2021, hey, that may be the year of prophecy continues, man. That may be the year of the institution of the mark of the beast. That can be the year that our Lord returns. Who knows? You know, but either way it go, we have some perilous times that's before us, man. All right, and they're not gonna end well for the 2/3 of our people, because the scriptures tell them that peace and safety and sudden destruction coming about. But what are our people doing? They're walking around, they're still being proud, you know, they're still on these social media platforms. These women are still committing adultery. You know, these men are still committing adultery. They're still being undesirables. It's a lot of stuff that's going on, but yet the prophecies are gonna hit them smack dab in the face, man. All right, so I'm gonna play this again, and then I'm gonna bring out a couple of precepts, and we just gonna pretty much wrap it up from that point. Case in point, here we go.
How have the central banks, this is my last slide, because my 12 minutes are just up, have reacted to the truth coming out? They admit that they've been telling cookies, and now they propose to increase their power. So central bankers belatedly admit, now that you've mentioned it, yes, banks create the money supply. So let's abolish that now. And also, by the way, let's abolish cash. So what should we do? Well, introduce digital cyber currency that central banks issue and control, and thereby gain total control.
Right, and I remember we brought out earlier this year that they was talking about digital dollars. They was talking about having everybody set up on a digital dollar wallet account or something to that magnitude by the beginning of 2021, January. So we may see a digital currency as early as next year. You know, we're not saying that's the chip, but that's leading to the chip. Okay, because you can see how they're taking these different parameters to go about doing away with cash. Like we read in Egypt, that the money fell up during the time of the famine, and on top of that, we got a famine that's on the horizon. All right, and money fell it in the time of Egypt during the pestilence, the famine. You know, and they're using COVID as a ploy to say, well, it's on the cash. It's on cash. That's what they're using. They're using that particular ploy. You know, And they're already rolling it out in Sweden. They're already talking about it in these Western conglomerates. So, hey, brothers, we at that time, man. So the time now to really tighten up, you know, not lighten up, tighten up. The time now is now, you know. And those of you that don't see it, it's because you infested with spirits on you, and you don't want to see it, you know.
Economic transactions decisions and a whole lot you've just heard from the CEO of the GDI. So the greatest concentration of central banking power in history is really the bid they're aiming at. That's the central bank's goal. And of course, digital accounts of dissenters and regime critics could be switched off. It'd be very difficult to even purchase necessities. So this is an Orwellian dystopia of total control, the end of any freedoms. That's really what central banks are aiming at. Several central banks have, like the Bank of England, already prepared their microchip implant, RFID chip, to be implanted under your skin. And why is the sudden discussion about universal basic income from all the grassroots and inverted commas movements and billionaires? Oh, universal basic income.
We there. We there. They getting ready to put you people back in slavery, man. They getting ready to put you people back in slavery. All right? They're getting ready to put people back in slavery, and they not going to give a damn about how you feel about it. You know? But anyway, I'm going to play the rest of it, and I'm going to get a few scriptures. Salaki, I'm actually driving too, so I'm trying to multitask.
For you to accept the microchip. The overarching trend of the
Rewind that.
This is an Orwellian dystopia of total control, the end of any freedoms. That's really what central banks are aiming at. Several central banks have, like the Bank of England, already prepared their microchip implant, RFID chip, to be implanted under your skin. And why is the sudden discussion about universal basic income from all the grassroots and inverted commas movements and billionaires? Oh, universal basic income is the bribe for you to accept the microchip. The overarching trend...
Hey, they may take this dude out. They may assassinate him, you know, because he's just spilling the beans. But they're at this point that they know, people already know. I mean, they're playing... Just because you don't see them making moves physically, that don't mean they ain't making moves, because they're going to bribe people. Like, they have something which is called the Global Reset Currency Program, that they're going to bribe you people into resetting on your debts, meaning that they'll take away all your debt, but you have to get the COVID-19 vaccination, the COVID-21, and you got to get the chip, you know. And we said that they may bribe people to take it with X amount of dollars, because for the simple fact, they know that people is not going to willingly take it. But see, they play off the carnality of you Americans and just you people that reside in the Western world, period. They play off your wantonness, man, meaning undisciplined. They play off your lifestyle, meaning the fact that they know you like the most extravagant things in life. They know you like the flash and the vigor and all that good stuff, which vigor is actually not good. Vigor is actually something that's bitter. Okay, so Salaki, wrong choice of words, but anyway, they're playing off the extravagance off your livelihoods. They know what you people like. They've studied you. This is why they have something which is called the social dilemma, you know, which it's on Netflix. You should watch it. Those of you out there that got Netflix account, is something called the social dilemma, how they basically set up social media to pretty much twist the fabric of you people's existence and to know everything about you and what you like. That's the whole concept of a smartphone. If you didn't know that, I suggest you brothers to get into the social dilemma. It's pretty good, scary at the same time, you know. Like, I was sitting on my couch the other day, and all of a sudden Google installed some Google TV on my phone. I'm like, I ain't never installed this, but they installed it, you know, outside of my my jurisdiction, so to speak. And all of a sudden, this Siri-like thing came on and say speak, and then all of a sudden I was able to test it, and I said text such and such, and then all of a sudden, you know, it popped up. So these algorithms are merging man with machine.
End of the 20th century is concentration of power in the hands of the few. That's what we have to keep in mind. We have to work against this. We don't want to have these unaccountable central planners making decisions. We need decentralization, and the solution therefore is to maintain public money in the hands of local community banks, decentralize decision making, give local people the power. banks and local not-for-profit community banks. As I walked in, I was delighted to see that the Gottlieb Institute is also about Genossenschaft cooperatives, and of course the majority of banks in Germany are cooperative banks, and that's really.
And look at this. This is a conglomerate of devils. Okay, all them Edomites in there. All of them with demons, and they all with it. They all with it. All right. They're not for the betterment of the people. Definitely not you tribes. You know, they're not even for the betterment of their own nation. So how much more you Israelites? Do you think they got your best interest in mind? You crazy to think that. All right. These men are hell bent. These men and these women and these devils, they're hell bent on destroying us, man. All right, they're even going to destroy majority of their people because a lot of their people ain't going for the BS, you know. So anyway, this is the book of Genesis 47:15. It says, and when the money felleth in the land of Egypt, they're talking about the money felleth. They're talking about the stock market, and we need to do rid of cash because of COVID. COVID was the perfect ploy to bring in a staged economic collapse, which is eventually going to get out of hand. It was a way to bring in total control, okay, totalitarian, which means harsh rule or kind of like draconian like. That was the whole plan of this COVID. They said we're gonna make these people comply one way or another, and they got majority of you people scared off this thing, man. But men like us, we're not afraid. We think it's, you know, we think it's a bunch of foolery. You know, we know it's a bunch of foolery, but you people out there, you paranoid, you're riding around with masks going. You know, I understand you gotta wear the mask when you go into businesses, different establishments. But you got family members, oh, you can't come in my house unless you got the mask on. That show you the people that's going to take the chip. That show you the true docility of the Israelites. You got people thinking things are going to return back to normal. Well, newsflash, it's not going to happen, man. And they're going to put more of the squeeze on this place. Okay, Hegelian dialectus. Okay, so that's all you people got forward to look to, man. You got to look forward to that nonsense. You know. So anyway, give me 1 second. Let me slide over here.
Turn right onto Northeast
Shut up.
Road.
I don't want to turn right.
Onto Northeast Rice Road.
You talk too much, man. You're just like a woman. Be quiet. Alright, so. And it says here, the money felleth in the land of Egypt. And it says the land of Canaan. Because we know that Egypt is a province within the land of Canaan, which you consider the land of Africa today. It says, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread. Why should we die in thy presence? For the money felleth. And Joseph said, give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fell. So it went back to bartering. So what happened was, at the time of a particular crisis, the money went under. Okay, but in this case, this is the elite's plan to bring about the New World Order, which they're going to get some pivots off of it. But overall, according to the book of Job, 5th chapter, and the 20th chapter, they're not going to be able to fully establish the New World Order because the scriptures say when he is ready to fill his belly, then the Most High shall rain upon him, roughly paraphrasing it. So, hey, brothers, we ain't got to worry about that chip, man, especially if we're keeping the words of the Lord's patience. He said, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So even if you have to die or become a martyr, the Lord will give you the spirit to deal with the harshness of this coming time. You know, because, I mean, hey, we're not going to say in the flesh it's not startling. It's very disturbing. But overall, we just like, man, we going to deal with it as it comes. So don't worry about getting your doors kicked in. They snatch you, throwing you out of here. I mean, that's going to happen to some brothers. I mean, that's just in the scriptures. But overall, you shouldn't be so consumed with that fear. Because if you consume with that fear, you will act out of character and you will act out of no faith and no belief, and you would do something presumptuous, which will put you in more jeopardy, and you don't want to do that. So everything through the spirit, you want to think it through, you know. And you women out there, man, only thing I can say to you, if you think you can do this alone without the men of the Lord, you think you in good standing with the Most High, good luck. That's all I'm gonna say, because you got women out there, and I'm gonna throw this in there too. You got a lot of women out there that say, oh, we don't need y'all, man. The Lord got us. We're gonna see how the Lord got you in this day, when they forcing a microchip in your kid's arm, when they throwing you in jail and torturing you. You're going to see how much of the prophets of the Lord you're going to need in that day. Because it's a proud spirit out here, and the Lord is getting ready to shut all that bullshit down. All right, excuse my French. So this is the book of Revelation 13-15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. The image is everything you see around you, from the COVID, from the conglomerate of these societies, to geopolitical structures, to the military. Everything, that's the image. That's what makes up the proverbial diagram of Babylon. Okay, that makes up the paradigm of Babylon. And it says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right, so worshiping the beast ultimately is taking that chip. All right, because you can say that, well, I don't agree with the government, whatever, and they may detain you. But it comes to time that, hey, if you don't deal with this chip, then hey, they're gonna try to execute you. You know, especially the Israelites, man. You jakes that buck up against this new world order, they're gonna put you down, man, with extreme prejudice. And it says here, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right, because right now we're totally on a medical martial law. And it says that no man might buy or sell save it had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay, so that's the mark of the beast, that's the chip. That's sooner than later will be implemented. We're just waiting on when the Lord say go. And it says, and here's wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. And with that, all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders, the apostles of GMS, and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, shalom and a ball.